They been cramping my style all week. Craving chocolate trees, checking pants, checking seeds, sipping herbal tea and fight for menstrual equity. Jeez, man, I kick cramps ass. 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 You're now tuned in to the Kick Cramps Ass podcast with your host, Brittany Walker, advocating for menstrual equity, period poverty, and womb wellness. New episodes on Menstruation Mondays.
Welcome to the Kick Cramps Ass podcast, where I'm your host, Brittany Walker, and you've made it to Season 2, Episode 22, where we'll be talking about amplifying your mental wellness for National Wellness Month. It is Monday, August 19, 2024, so happy Menstruation Monday. Now, you know we like to kick off each episode with the I Am Power statement. I representing inspiration, A representing affirmations, and M representing manifestations. And the I Am Power statement for today is, I am implementing new wellness techniques in an effort to amplify my mental wellness. Ashe. So there it is. You know, we also like to have a quote of the day, and today's is, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refused to be reduced by it. Maya Angelou. Come on, Auntie Maya. Yes. So again, you can't control what goes on outside of you, right? But you have the choice to see how you are going to handle those situations, how you're going to allow it to affect you, and how you're going to allow it to hinder you or impact you moving forward in your life. All right, guys. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to have a little sip of our cramp elixir, and we'll be right back with you. Have you tried our bestseller, the Cramp Elixir? It's our herbal tea blend designed to reduce and eliminate menstrual cramps, PMS symptoms, and other uterine health issues that are hindering your day-to-day progress. Our elixir may decrease inflammation, reduce stress and anxiety, regulate blood flow, balance your mood, and it can kick cramps ass. It includes a variety of herbs including hibiscus, red raspberry leaf, calendula, motherwort, ashwagandha, plus more. Head over to kickcrampsass.org and grab yours today. Now, back to the show. Welcome back from that commercial break. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. Now, August is National Wellness Month. All month long, we've been talking about how can you amplify, heighten, do whatever it takes to make your wellness routine work for you. So far, we are in the third week of August. So we're focusing on mental health this week. Now, during week 1, we covered emotional wellness, which was episode 20. And then last week we covered spiritual wellness, which was episode 21. And this week we're going to go ahead and knock out mental wellness. Now, what is mental wellness? It is our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It's about prevention and coping with life's adversities and being resilient in whatever we face, whether that's through stress, being worried, feeling lonely, angry, or your sadness. And it's also referred to as achieving a positive state of mind in the holistic sense. So most people think mental wellness has to do just with mental illness. And that's not particularly the case, because if you are not diagnosed with the mental illness, you could still have your mental wellness negatively impacted. Again, if you're overly stressed out, if you're feeling lonely and by yourself or isolated, if somebody has made you really upset, whether that's a spouse, whether that's a family member, a friend, a coworker, your neighbor, it is possible for any living being to be affected, to have their mental wellness affected. Now, let's talk about some recent stats in the last 4 to 5 years, so to speak. Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is known as the CDC, more than 1 in 5 United States adults live with a mental illness. Guys, that is roughly 57.8 million people in the United States as of 2021 are living with an actual mental illness. Now, 1 in 5 youths So ages 13 through 14, either currently or at some point during their life, have had a serious debilitating mental illness. Again, guys, ages 13 through 18. This is prime teenage years. This is when you're going through puberty. This is when you're in middle school and high school. You might experiencing some bullying. You have everybody on the internet that does like cyberbullying. You have people making fun of you. They're trying to figure out their own. So instead of them handling their problems on their own, they might project that onto you. A lot can happen to youth. And especially in this day and age, just the amount of terror and things that you've heard on the news that what youth can go through in school, being terrorized and bullied as well. Also, maybe dealing with childhood trauma at home, maybe watching their parents go through a divorce, maybe watching their single parent struggle, maybe watching the people that they look up to, the guardians, maybe abusive relationships, maybe they're experiencing abuse in some form or fashion, whether that's mentally, verbally, physically, emotionally. It is all possible. Now, about 1 in every 25 adults that live in the United States live with a serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression. So as you can see, these numbers are so high. And this is just the United States. We're not even talking about globally outside the United States. So we can only imagine how high these numbers really are. So how do you know that your mental wellness is being affected? How do you know that you might have an onset of a mental illness? How do you know that your mental is actually being affected? Let's take a look at some signs that may have a negative impact on your mental wellness. Now, if your mood changes, so rapid or extreme shifts in your mood or emotions, and this can be a cause of a hormonal imbalance in your body, but such as feeling sad or feeling down. You might experience uncontrollable highs or feelings of euphoria. So if you can go out for the day and you started off in a really, really good mood, and then you hit road rage, and then you get to work and your coworker made you mad, then your boss yelled at you about something, and that just sends you on a spiral, and next thing you know, your mood is just shifting and changing, and you might not have the proper resources and tools to help you to combat that, to help reduce that anxiety, reduce that anger and stress. All right, guys? Another sign is withdrawal. Withdrawal from your friends, your family, your favorite activities, losing interest in things that were previously enjoyable for you. So there is a thing to become an introvert. There's even a thing that when you're evolving or you're transforming into your best self, you might grow out of people. You might grow out of places and things. You might start realizing what are invaluable distractions to you. And so that could be a form of withdrawal. But we're talking about that you're just completely isolating yourself. You don't want to deal with nobody. You don't want to talk with nobody. And you're kind of wallowing in negative emotions or toxic emotions that can lead to depression, that can lead to other serious mental illness or mental ailments. So you want to be mindful of those things. Sleep problems. So it could go one or two ways. Either you could be significantly tired with a lot of low energy, or you could be have a disruption in your sleep. So maybe you're developing some form of insomnia. You can even be tired when you go to bed, and you go to bed and it's just like 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and then you're back up and you just can't sleep. And that could be because subconsciously your mind is roaming. It has all the emotions that you weren't able to release, anything that you've been dealing with and holding in your body. We have to be mindful when you hold on to negative emotions, it can lead to other ailments in the body because your body just can't hold and fester that type of energy. So we want to be mindful of those things, and that can affect your sleep. All right, guys. Another sign is thinking problems. You start getting confused in your thinking. You're having problems concentrating and focusing on tasks that are right in front of you. You might notice that it's a hobby or something that you do daily or frequently around the house that's just hard for you to get to. It might be difficult for you to learn or comprehend certain things. It can also be something just as simple as not being able to think of what 1 + 1 is. Back in my days where I was suffering from bipolar 2 disorder, I would literally have brain farts and say, how do you spell why? Like WHY, like asking the question why. And I would sit there and have that brain fart. Now, mind you guys,
if you check my track record, I have several degrees, have always been a really, really good student, always have had an exceptional GPA. They try to let me graduate high school when I was 15 and again when I was 16. I remember being in first grade and they tried to bump me up to fourth grade. Second grade, they tried to bump me up to fifth grade. My mom wasn't having it. She said, you're going to stay a child and hang out with your friends and grow up with your friends, not grow up too soon. However, I would run into the brain fart on like how to spell Y. And that is just like, it sounds crazy to you, but my mind would be that boggled up with everything else that was invaluable to me or things that really impacted me in a negative way that I just couldn't even think about simple things like that. A 3-letter word, guys. So things to be mindful of. A detachment from reality. So we talked about being like secluded to yourself and withdrawing yourself, but detaching from reality can mean that you have delusions that you're creating in your head. You have paranoia that you're creating for yourself. You're hallucinating. You might think that people are out to get you and they're not out to get you. You might think that because something's not working out in your benefit, you have come up with a plan or a scheme on why people have come together to develop this plan to use against you. So those are things that you want to be mindful of, that if you're experiencing this, that you might want to take a step back and see if your mental health or mental wellness is being impacted in a specific area in your life. All right, guys. Another negative impact or a sign that you might be suffering with a negative impact to your mental wellness is problems relating to others. Difficulty understanding or relating to other people, comprehending their perspective, thinking that your perspective is the only correct way and nobody else is right. And then that goes into the detachment from reality. Now you're starting to think that people are against you. You're starting to get paranoid about certain things, and you just need to be mindful of that. Also, being able to gauge or interpret other people's feelings. If you're unable to do that, have like emotional intelligence or empathy for others, then that's something that you may want to consider for yourself, that you could be suffering from an impact to your mental wellness. Changes in your habits. So you might notice that you're eating way more, you're stress eating, or you're not eating enough, and you might be slightly starving yourself. You want to be careful of that because there is an association where mental wellness can impact eating disorders. So you want to be mindful of binge eating or not eating enough, or eating and then regurgitating or doing something to your body that can have a physical ailment negatively impacted. All right, guys. Your sex drive might change. You might feel that you're hypersexual and you go into like a nymphomatic stage, or you could see that you don't want to have sex at all. You might have a lovely sexual relationship with your spouse, but now you are going through some mental wellness issues, and you look up and you see that it's been a month and you're used to maybe having sexual intercourse 2 to 3 times a week, so those are things that you want to be mindful of. You don't want anybody to touch you, be around you, or show you any type of love and affection in that way. All right. And then another aspect of changing your habits could be a decline in your personal care. Maybe you're not waking up and brushing your teeth every day. Maybe you realize you're not taking baths anymore. Maybe you start realizing that your hair is starting to mat together because you're not combing it, because you're just getting up and then laying back down on the couch or laying back down in the bed once you've gone to the restroom or did what you had to do. So you want to be mindful of tending to yourself. And if you're not tending to yourself like you normally do, this could be a sign of your mental wellness being affected. Another sign is substance abuse. So using drugs recreationally, using alcohol excessively. Maybe when you go to happy hour, you then become that friend. Instead of just having 1 or 2 drinks, you want to have 4 or 5 shots and then 6 and 7 drinks later. Maybe you become that friend that you want to go out Thursday through Sunday, but every single day you're drinking an excessive amount of alcohol. Maybe you become that person where you might go to your mental health professional and get some type of medication to assist you with your mental health. But then you start realizing that you're doing something that's abusing that mental health medication, like taking it with alcohol, or start using other drugs or maybe party drugs on the weekend to make you feel better about yourself. Being around certain people that might influence you, like, hey, do this or try this, and this will make you feel better. This will make you forget about it. But being a recovering addict, being somebody that suffer from mental health issues, being somebody that has been to an actual psychological ward and has had to stay there inpatient and go to outpatient therapy, having that friend that's going to influence you to do something in that moment is always not the best thing, because guess what? You might take that party drug, you might indulge in that substance, but then 10, 12, 14 hours later, maybe 24 hours later, once you wake up and you sleep it off and it's out your system, those problems are still going to be there. So then what, you're going to go back and keep taking stuff over and over and over to try to suppress that? No, that's how addiction comes into play. So we want to be mindful of those things. Excessive fears or worries. You have anxiety all the time. You have extreme feelings of guilt, like you're not good enough, or you're not getting things done, and you're starting to beat yourself up because of it. You notice that you're not beating to the normal rhythm of the drum that you go to, and that's not working out for you. You then begin to worry, meaning that when your mind is not focused on a task or something, your mind then shifts to what those worries are. You want to be mindful of that, all right? Having hopelessness about the future, that is a sign of having a negative impact on your mental wellness. If you feel like, oh, there's nothing for me in the future, I could die now and nobody's going to care, and you kind of go into like a pity party and you're really pessimistic about what is to come, and not realizing that everybody goes through something. We're all going to go through things, and not saying that my situation is better than yours or my situation should have more attention than yours, but you have to be mindful that everybody goes through things. Even the people that you may look up to, your role models, celebrities that you like, maybe you have that professor or that teacher that really made a positive impact in your life. All of these people go through things. So it's all about you finding out what resources and tools work for you to combat these issues when they do arise or are present in your life. All right, guys. Another sign is thoughts about dying or suicide, saying that you don't want to be here no more, taking steps to research and figure out different ways on how you could commit suicide, even dreaming about yourself committing suicide, having those thoughts in your head. Those are things that you want to be mindful of, because if you're starting to have that, you could be having an impact with your mental wellness. Another sign, the inability to cope with daily problems or stress. You just feel like every day it's something. Every day something is bothering you, something is affecting you, something is hindering you. And again, you have to realize that everybody in the world is going through something. Everybody is experiencing something. Even if you're not a human being, let's just think about mammals. So animals that are out in the desert, out in the rainforest, out in the ocean, even they have problems that they have to deal with. They have to worry about surviving. They have to worry about how they're going to figure out their food. They have to worry about if another larger animal is going to come eat them. All right, guys. So everybody has something to deal with, but it's about how you handle those things. And if you are finding yourself that you're unable to deal with day-to-day problems, day-to-day activities, day-to-day stress, that's something that you want to consider, and it could be impacting you. And the last sign that you may have a negative impact on your mental wellness is an obsession with your physical appearance, the way you look, your weight, your eating habits. Oh, this person, like I have been told, I'm going to use this example. As you can see, I have very full lips. These are my natural lips. I have had these lips my entire life. And I would have young girls when I was in high school make fun of my lips. They would tell me, oh, your lips are so big. I have been called, since I have family, I told you I was raised in Texas, born in Texas, but both of my grandmothers are from Louisiana. So I have a lot of Louisiana blood running in through me. And so I would have people say, oh, you have soup coolers, or people from Louisiana, oh, you have gumbo coolers. You just have really, really big lips. I would have people be negative towards me in high school and tell me that I had dick sucking lips. And I know that's extreme, but I would have literally people make fun of me. It got to the point that in high school, I would have, and even though I came out in high school, I still had males that were attracted to me, and I was still trying to figure out life being a Christian that was heavy in church. I was just trying to figure myself out. So I would still have boys flirting with me. I got along with a lot of the athletes because I was a cheerleader and I ran track. And so I got along with a lot of the athletes, and I would have even like my football brothers or my basketball brothers that would say, man, if you wasn't my sis, you're so pretty and you got those pretty full lips. Ooh, I bet them lips are soft. They're soft like pillows. And their girlfriends or the girls that like them or things along those lines, those would be the girls that would come after me and would attack me. But then we get out of high school, right? Go to college, grow up, go on about life. I'll be 39 in October, so that just lets you know I've been out of high school for over 20 years. And now I look at some of those people, like social media or whatnot, and some of those people that used to make fun of me have now went and got injections in their lips, have now and went and got cosmetic surgery to make themselves look different. That they gained weight over the years, maybe from having kids or just life in general. And now they've had weight loss surgery or went and had some type of cosmetic surgery to look the way that they desire. All right. So I think about those situations of how I would get made fun of or I would get talked about because of my appearance. But then you turn around and then you change your appearance to look like the way that people that you used to make fun of. So you want to be mindful of those things. If you start getting in your own head where you're talking about people like, oh, yeah, her lips are too full, or her teeth are too white or straight, or oh, she thinks she's all that because she has perfect boobs. She thinks she's all that because she has hips and has a butt naturally. She thinks she's all that because she has abs and all the guys like her, things of that sort. Those are things you want to be mindful of because it can sound like petty girl mess or like mean girl type behavior, but that can really be a cry for that individual and their own insecurities and their own vulnerabilities of things that they don't like about themselves. So they're going to talk about and make fun of other people. But then when they get the resources or they have the opportunity, they're going to go try to fix those same issues that they're insecure about. So you want to be mindful of that, being able to come into your own and be okay with what you look like, looking at yourself and knowing, damn, I look good. Damn, I'm pretty, and learning about your own beauty. And that's truly important with your mental wellness. All right, guys, know that was a mouthful. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back with you. Now, navigating to our resource center, we want to give you guys access to all these complimentary resources that we have available for you. We have our blog, book suggestions, our menstrual blood chart, exercise moves to kick cramps ass. We have recipes. We have reports. We have research studies that helps to prove how holistic approaches assist with achieving wound wellness. We have wellness tips, wellness referrals, so business organizations and individuals that we would like to refer to you that are our strategic partners, wound terminology. Maybe there's some wound options that you're not aware of. This can help you out. And lastly, yoga moves to help you kick cramps ass. Feel free to take advantage of this complimentary resource. All right, guys, now back to the show. Welcome back from that commercial break. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. Now, let's talk about how mental wellness may also assist you with. What can it actually assist with in your life? Now, it can aid in coping with life's stresses. We talked about earlier that not being able to deal with daily stress, not being able to handle certain situations can start impacting your mental wellness. So having control of your mental wellness will aid in coping with those stresses. It also contributes to your physical health. Most people don't realize how intertwined your wellness is. Then that's why we've had this wellness series for the month of August for National Wellness Month. Each week we are breaking down the different components of wellness. And now you can have spiritual and social and all this other, but the four main components are emotional, spiritual, mental and physical. So having a control of your mental wellness will impact your optimal wellness, your overall wellness, and that will also contribute to your physical wellness. We talked about earlier that with your mental wellness, if you're feeling sad, you don't want to get up, you're feeling stagnant, you're starting to feel withdrawal, and you don't want to deal with anybody, having a healthy mental wellness state will help you want to get up, you want to go run, you want to go exercise, you want to move around, you want to play with the kids, you want to be out and about. So that's a good thing. It also helps you to positively impact good relationships. When your mental wellness is good, you have a good relationship with yourself. When it's also good, you have a good relationship with your loved ones. That includes your partner, if it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, if you're in a poly situation with your different partners, if you're married, if you're in a committed relationship, if you're engaged, whatever the case is, it could be good. Also with your family, having a positive, healthy relationship with your family. Mental wellness, people don't realize that it could be generational, of learning same traits or doing same habits, because it's just what was conditioned, is what was comfortable, is what you were exposed to. And sometimes you might have to be that individual that does something different, that shifts gears on how to really have positive mental wellness. And so that will allow you to have great relationships with your family and those who are seeing the impact. They are seeing like, wow, you look great, you feel great, I see that you're changing in a good way, let me hop on that, let me be positively influenced to do that as well. Just like we mentioned earlier, you can have negative influences that could take you down a certain path on your mental wellness, but you can also have positive influences that can take you down that path as well. Now, having great mental wellness can also assist with making meaningful contributions to your community, wanting to give back and serve, educate, heal, help, whatever it is that you're passionate about or what your purpose is in life. You can go back and now you can help other people. You would have never told me before I went to rehab in 2008 that I would wake up, you know, 14, 15 years now and be an advocate for substance abuse, be an advocate for alcoholism, be an advocate for mental and verbal and physical abuse. Never thought that I would be that person. So now, all these years later, and it kind of naturally came into play with the organizations and the things that I'm involved with, it lets me know that your mental health is good and you can help other people get their mental health to where they need to be. Hence the purpose of this episode, or even the purpose of the organization Kick Cramps Ass, right? Now, mental wellness may also assist with improving your work productivity. You can thrive in all that you do, but if you're not in a good mental space and you just don't have the capacity to perform, it's going to show in your productivity, and you don't want that to hinder your job. If you are an entrepreneur, you don't want that to hinder your business too much and your operations. If you are at home and you split responsibilities with somebody, maybe you have a roommate, maybe you live with a spouse, maybe you live maybe you and your cousin are roommates, maybe you still live at home with your parents. You want to have a way to be productive, and your mental wellness will improve that productivity. Now, it also helps you to realize your full potential. You can look at yourself and say, wow, I've evolved into this person. Wow, this is who I could truly be. And then that ignites a power within. It lets you know who you truly are and who you're capable of being. And it allows you to know that moving forward, the obstacles and the barriers and the challenges that you've gotten over, you might can have something harder than that come in the future, but you know that you've been through some stuff. So you know what you're capable of achieving and conquering. And once you can conquer that, you then build more confidence for yourself to know that I can do anything. Even when barriers come into play, figure out how to overcome those barriers. Just don't let that be the stopping block. And good mental wellness can help you achieve that. It can also help you determine how to handle stress. Me in my 20s, I handle stress totally differently. Totally differently. Now, my spouse tells me all the time, I am so proud of you for the patience that you have. I am so proud of you for controlling your anger, for controlling your mouth, for controlling things. When I was younger, guys, I would curse people out. fought a lot. I fought a lot. I just felt like nobody can mess with me. I'm always going to protect myself type thing, right? And I have fought men and women. Like my last fight was a man that I got into a fight with. And it's just because I did not know how to control my anger. I did not know how to control my emotional wellness. I did not know how to control my mental wellness at the time. And so it is extremely important to learn how to control stress and learn how to handle it. Now, again, you can't be in control of how things happen, of how that stress came about, but you can be in control of how you handle it and move forward from it. And then let me also kind of take back, because if you were the factor, the dominating factor on why that stress came about, meaning that it came from your actions, then you do have to take accountability that that's power within yourself for you to control. But then again, that lets you know that you still have power to control that stress. All right, guys. Now, another way that mental wellness helps you, it helps you to relate to others. Once you have a control of your mental wellness, you then can build stronger emotional intelligence. You can build empathy. You can put yourself in somebody else's shoes and understand where they're coming from. And then if they want the advice, if they want recommendations or help, then you can then extend your expertise and your experience to them and let them know, like, hey, I've been there before. Let me tell you how I handled that. Or I've been there before and let me tell you how I handled it, and it wasn't the best, but this is how I would have did things differently, and I probably could have had a better outcome. You also have the option to, if you don't understand, or let me not say understand, if you don't know exactly what somebody's going through, you can still try to understand their perspective and comprehend and have a conversation with that person to see where they're coming from, so you know their perspective, and then still be empathetic to that. All right, guys. And then lastly, mental wellness can influence you with making healthy your choices. All right, guys. So it's so important to make healthy choices because it's going to contribute to our overall optimal wellness. All right, guys. Now, tips for amplifying your mental wellness. Let's talk about your sleep. You need adequate sleep. Getting enough sleep is vital for maintaining good mental and physical health. Sleep helps repair and restore the brain, and it is essential to the body as eating, drinking, and breathing. All right, we mentioned earlier, you can have a disturbance in your sleep, which can affect your mental wellness. That's why it is important to have adequate sleep. So a minimum of 7 hours a night is realistic. All right. Exercise. Regular exercise can boost the mood and improve your health. So activities like walking, aerobics, and yoga can help you. And I have been recommending to you guys a minimum of 5 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes daily is sufficient. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not a lot, because if you go to your screen time on your phone, I can guarantee you that you might have more time scrolling on the day through social media than you have in that 20 to 30 minute period where you can get adequate exercise in. All right, guys. Next, we want to be able to eat healthier. So eating a regular, well-balanced, colorful, and nutritious meal while staying hydrated. All right, guys. So this is so important. Eating from all the different food groups, eating the macronutrients. We've talked about that before. Your proteins, your complex carbs, not simple carbs, your healthy fats, not your bad fats, and water is extremely important. And then micronutrients, which will house all the vitamins and minerals that the body needs. All right, guys. And water, a minimum of 8 cups a day, but that's the equivalent to 4 standard water bottles, which are 15.9 ounces per bottle. All right, guys. We also want to practice mindfulness. It is so important to practice not mindfulness. Paying more attention to the present moment can improve your mental wellness. So activities, again, like yoga or Tai Chi, meditation, and relaxation can help. We talked about mindfulness in our last episode and how important it is for spiritual wellness. We also talk about mindfulness and emotional wellness, and you kind of see how these components are collaborating with one another, validating one another. So that's really cool to see how everything comes together to give you optimal wellness. All right. Taking breaks. It is so important to take breaks. Taking regular breaks throughout the day, such as a 10-minute break every hour. Yes, if you're working 9 to 5 or you have a job that you work 40 hours per week, yes, they give you 15-minute breaks. Yes, you get a lunch break, right? But we also want you to be mindful of sometimes those 15-minute breaks might not be enough. Sometimes that lunch break is for your lunch. So you might need to take an additional break. And that can happen once you get home, once you experience something at work that might be highly stressful, but you want to take time to yourself to regroup and get yourself together because it can help you relax, it can help you recharge and refocus. Breaks can also improve your productivity, your creativity, and your performance. All right. Next, we will want you to be able to connect with others. Having good relationships are important for mental wellness. So this can include engaging in social contact with people, and this is in person or virtually, talking to a trusted friend or family member. We talked about earlier, you don't want to withdraw yourself or isolate yourself too much. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert, but still having some type of social connection that's healthy with at least one other individual is important. You can also join an organization or a group or some type of hobby that other people like to do as well, that maybe you can connect with other individuals that love or like the things that you like. All right. Also, learning new skills. Research shows that learning new skills can improve your mental wellness, and I can co-sign that. Yes, learning new skills, and it doesn't have to be so much a skill that you use for work. It could be gardening, learning how to grow your own food and your own herbs inside your house or in your backyard, right? It could be learning how to sew your own clothes so you don't have to keep spending money on designer clothes and things of that sort. It doesn't have to, like we said, it doesn't have to be learning leadership skills or time management skills, which time management is important. Don't get that twisted. I'm always going to preach for that. But however, when people hear learn new skills, they automatically associate it with their careers, their jobs, the workplace, and not skills that they can use in their personal lives. All right. Giving to others. Acts of kindness can improve your mental wellness. And this is not saying that you have to give a certain amount of money each month to a specific organization. This could be your time, your energy. This could be you going to volunteer at the soup kitchen. This could be you going to the library and reading to kids on the weekend. This could be you assisting at your church and putting together the food drive for the holidays, something along those lines. But giving back to others is extremely important, and it will positively impact your mental wellness. Also, another tip is setting priorities. Decide what needs to get done and what can wait, and say no to new tasks if they feel like too much. So, getting up in the top of the day, I have talked to you guys before about our top of the day regimen once we get up. And one of the things that's important for us is going through our schedule, knowing what meetings we have for today, what's on our to-do list for to get done. And we have a time to evaluate that. What's high priority? What needs to get done today? What has deadlines? Is this personal? Is this for work? Is it for business? Is it for school? You need to be able to pick your priorities. And if you don't get to everything in a day, it's okay. But at least you got something done and you were proactive towards some goal that you have set for yourself. Again, whether it's towards your career, whether education, personally, but you need to be able to set priorities in your life and recognize what is an actual priority and what is a thing that you feel like you're people pleasing or you're being forced to do or peer pressured or guilt tripped into doing. All right. Another tip is show compassion for yourself. Now, what you've accomplished at the end of the day, not what you did not. To me, showing yourself grace is so important. And when we talk about implementing the wellness plans, we've been talking about how important it is to show yourself grace, to celebrate the small wins, celebrate everything. People think that I only should reward myself when I do the grand goal and it's completed. Those subtasks can be hard too along the way. You can get thrown off by what's going on in life. You're a knee deep into a project and you've been doing research for the last 2 hours, and then you get a call from your mom and then you need to help her. And then your spouse comes home and now it's time to figure out dinner, but your dog needs to be taken on a walk. But then you have a client that's reaching out to you about help. You could get sidetracked easily. So it's important to show yourself grace and compassion for the things that you were able to get accomplished. All right. And again, it doesn't have to just be work. It could be anything, personal accomplishment. That could be as far as I got up and I did 5 minutes of lymphatic draining exercise. I was able to do 5 minutes worth of breath work today. I was able to meditate for 2 to 3 minutes. I was able to journal my thoughts when things got tough during leading up to my lunch break. Small wins. All right, guys. And lastly, seek help. There's nothing wrong with seeking help if you're unable to cope or find a plan or a wellness routine that works for you. All right. If you're having suicidal thoughts, if you're using drugs and alcohol to cope with your problems, it is important to talk to a mental health professional, whether that is a therapist, if you want to go to a psychologist, if you want to go to a psychiatrist, which normally a psychiatrist, you have to be referred by your psychologist, but there's nothing wrong with going to a counselor, a therapist, a psychologist. It's nothing wrong with that. I highly recommend it because I feel like I would not be in the place that I am if I did not have a great team of I have had a counselor, I've had therapists, I've had a psychologist, and I've had a psychiatrist. No longer have to see my psychiatrist because I'm not on any medication. However, and I don't see a psychologist anymore either, but I do have a therapist that I keep in my back pocket that, girl, if I need to hit you up, I know that I can. And I know that I can also do telehealth. So anywhere that I am at in the world, I'll be able to reach you. So that's important too. If you find a therapist that's only in person, it might be important for you to maybe find a counselor that's global or does like telework or like telehealth. That way that no matter where you're at, that you'll be able to have accessibility to this person if possible. All right, guys. Now, let's talk about how to implement. It's the same implementation plan we've said for the last 2 episodes, but we're going to say it again today just because we wanted to kind of soak in and start marinating so that you guys can make the best wellness plan for yourself. And people think, again, what is mental wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, physical? What does that have to do with your period? Everything. Because all of these components of wellness affect your cycle. They will affect your womb. If your mental health is not at a good place, your womb will be affected. You might have a longer cycle. You may have heavier cramps. Your blood flow may be heavier, or you may have an absence of a period because you're so stressed out, which is amenorrhea. All right. So we want to be mindful of those things. So how do you implement this wellness routine into your daily practice or focusing on amplifying your mental wellness? You have to want it to truly get started and to keep up with the routine. So again, there will be down days, especially when you're in your period or you have something that may impact you, but you have to push through and keep going. Managing your time effectively. Step 2, factor your wellness routine into your daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly schedule. Evaluate and update as needed for when changes happen in your schedule. This could be because of your period, vacations, life events. Maybe somebody passed away in your family. Maybe you need to go home and help your parents out for something. Stuff happens, but you just need to readjust as needed. Get SMART goals set for yourself. SMART is the acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. You want to set those SMART goals for yourself so you can have benchmarks and have a way to measure your progress, and also to set the main goal and then have the ability to set your sub goals. I always like to use the ADDIE model when I'm doing this as well when I start implementing those goals. And ADDIE is the acronym ADDIE. A represents analyze, D is develop, the second D is design, I is implement, and E is execute. That is a way and a model that you can use to assist you with making sure that you are achieving those goals. All right, guys? Show yourself some grace along the way. Same thing that we said earlier about showing yourself compassion. You may run into obstacles that may challenge you along the way and challenge your new habits that you are developing. So you want to be strong enough to combat those things when they come toward you. All right. And then lastly, celebrate all wins, including the small ones, to be your own motivator and to continue to build confidence that you can sustain a consistent wellness routine. It's great to have an accountability partner. It's great to have individuals that can support you and be your your village and your support system in this process. But also building that confidence within yourself allows you to become a stronger individual. It allows you to realize what you're truly capable of and tap into your own power. All right, guys. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back with you. Welcome to kickcrampsass.org. Now, feel free to subscribe and get 15% off. By doing so, you're subscribing to our newsletter and you'll receive the latest news, resources, and updates. We appreciate you for connecting with us, so we want to get you with 15% off on your first order. So go ahead and leave your first name, your last name, and your email address, and you'll have this 50% off coupon that you can use towards your first order. Now, back to the show. Welcome back from that commercial break. We hope that you enjoyed it. So guys, to recap, we talked about amplifying your mental wellness for National Wellness Month because it is still August. All right, guys. So what do we have going on? We have our KCA magazine. We're going to drop the link to our magazine in the description of this episode so you guys can check it out. Each week, we have been dropping articles for you, and we launched the magazine on July 31st in time for National Wellness Month, so you guys can have an additional resource on tips and research and opportunities to learn more about menstrual health and how you can improve your menstrual cycle journey. All right, guys. And then next month, it is September. So we got Yoga Awareness Month coming up. And we're so excited because we're launching our fitness and mindfulness program. We're so excited about it, guys. 2 weeks away. So next episode, we'll drop some more details about that program that we have coming up. We're still accepting listeners' mail, so feel free to comment on this episode, or if you want a more personalized or intimate experience, feel free to email us at contact@kickcrampsass.org, which will also be listed in the description of this episode. Be sure to like our podcast, share it with somebody that you feel that can resonate. Also, be sure to subscribe to our website where you will not only get a 15% off discount coupon to use at our KCA store, but you're able to keep up with the latest news, resources, events, tips, resources, and everything that we have going on. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have additional content, and that's where our mindfulness and fitness program will be housed at. All right, guys. But if there's not anything else, we want to send gratitude out to all of you for tuning in on this good old Menstruation Monday as we wrapped up season 2, episode 22, Amplifying Your Mental Wellness for National Wellness Month. All right, guys. So gratitude again for tuning in, and we want to manifest a positive, productive, and peaceful remainder of this Menstruation Monday, of your week ahead, and your menstrual cycle journey ahead. All right, guys, until next Menstruation Monday, peace.